Before I start, when I served as president around 1990, 92, I believe, I tried something that would encourage us to greet each other when we come to the meeting, not find our place next to the same person we sat with last week and not greet each other. John, tell me about your experience today.
Well, Charles called me today with this idea this morning, and this is something we used to call the mystery handshaker. And the person running the meeting, in this case Charles, said, how about whoever's number 3 to shake your hand, they'll win a prize. Well, I'm happy to say I only got one person to shake my hand. I had one fist bump, and number 3 was the person who kind of more or less gave me a little kind of thing. Well, that was Daniel King. So I did have 3 people make physical contact in greeting me today.
All right.
Name the others, though. I wonder who it
Well,
was.
James, you were number 1.
You're going to get Mr. Goodmark.
No, Bob, excuse me.
No, I'm sure.
Bob Barker was number 1. He shook my hand. James gave me the bump. And James, David kind of gave me the.
Now listen, I believe I spoke to 2 others about that. Larry, did I mention it to you? Did I mention it to you, Dave? Did anyone shake your hand?
Yes, the president welcomed me, and I can't get in here without shaking Bob Barker's hand.
So, did I tell you the second one or the third?
Yes, second.
Second. So
But I have several more.
Bob Barker, you got a Mr. Goodmark. I was going around calling different ones this morning. Did I ask anyone else to do that?
No, but I know I shook Larry's hand too. I like the good Mr. Good.
I have one more if you want. Thank you, Mr. President, for the invitation. Next year, in June, we celebrate 50 years. This topic should be laid until then. But then, as I looked at our roster, I asked for a copy of all of our membership and when we joined. And do you know that over 50% of us have been members of Fuquay Varina Rotary Club less than 2 years? So we need to have the history, right? Why have history? We can learn what not to do.
Exactly.
And we can learn what has worked. So we have to be able to separate the difference, okay? Our club was founded in 1976. Bob Johnson, not Dr. Bob Johnson, and I are the only charter members that are still members of the club. The reason I refer to him as Bob Johnson is rather than Dr. Bob. Charlie McCullers came and helped us organize Rotary Club. He was the executive director of the Garner Chamber of Commerce, member of Rotary Club in Clare. Clayton, John Hatcher and Ralph Ashworth and Carey, with the Carey Rotary Club, sponsored our club. And they asked Charlie, who was known at the time as Mr. Rotary. He was a past district governor, and I never met a person that was as high on Rotary as Charlie McCullers. It was contagious. So Bob Johnson and myself developed a relationship that has grown for 49 years now. I love you, brother. The time being short, I'm going to skip the second part, but I was planning to go, since over half of our membership is made up of ones that have come in the last 2 years. I was going to recognize each one, but thank you. Those of you that have come in recently to build and to rebuild the Rotary Club because it's worthy of the keeping. How did the Rotary Club begin? I got a call and asked if I would attend meeting Charlie McCullers for breakfast one morning. He talked to you about possibly going to a Rotary Club in Fuquay, Varina. At that time, there was a restaurant on Whitechapel Road as you're leaving downtown going toward Whitechapel Church. First building on your right. Don't even know that damn sign, but it's Dickens Insurance, I think. At the time was Johanna's Restaurant, run by James Spain from Apex. And, you know, there are things in life to me that happen that does not get removed from my mind. Where was I when John Kennedy got shot? What happened? When 9/11 hit, where was I when I learned about it? And another one is, I know which table I sat at that morning at the restaurant. Charlie McCullers was a salesman from way back, didn't tell you. But he brought with him the motto, service above self. He profits most who serves less. That was the motto in 1976. He also brought one more, the four-way test. He said, Charles, what do you think about that? I think maybe there's some people in Fuquay that would support that thinking, and we could form a Rotary Club here. The rest is history. The list was prepared. Each one that was contacted was asked to invite someone else. This must have been around February of 1976. And in June 1976, 23 members chartered the Fuquay Rotary.
How many members?
23 members.
Okay.
They were, Charles Adams was a druggist, who was encouraged at that time. It's less now than it was then, but it was encouraged then. In fact, it was mandatory. If there was one that's already occupying that classification, building contractor, no one else could come in unless the original one agreed. And so Charlie Barnes came in as a builder, certainly I wanted Charlie in the Rotary Club, and he came in. The next one was Jimmy Ashworth, who was Ashworth Clothing. Hardy Baker was real estate. Larry Bennett, who at that time was employed by me, by the way, no women had been 4 years earlier, or 12 years. Eventually became town manager. Was a charter member. Dan Grissom was a tobacco warehouse owner. Jerry Curran was insurance. Charles T. Dorman was pastor of the Baptist Church. David Dozier lived on James Slaughter Road, and I built him a home. Paul Gibson was a retired lumber exporter. I'd also built him a house. John Houghton was postmaster at the time for Fuquay, Varina. And of course, Bob Johnson. Don Mangum was local truck driver, horse trucks. Leo Matthews owned the farm supply. Graham Meyer had been coach of the football team here at Fuquay many, many years. Kerr Powell Jr. was part of the ownership of Varina Wholesale Builders, a lot that I had worked with. Robert Reed came here from another state through a doctor that came to town and brought his nurse, and Robert was the wife of that. The nurse was his mother-in-law. Bobby Rebels worked with Rebels Tractor. Jim Stevens was an attorney. Roy Tilley was fertilizer representative of Grace Company. Thomas Turner owned Insulating Incorporated. O.B. Wallace was manager of Hudson Belts, and John Wheeler, Robert Wheeler, women. Wallace was assistant manager, and Robert Wheeler was manager, both Hudson Belts. Hudson Bells was where the art center is, the cultural art center is. So that was the makeup of the club to begin with, okay? When that first meeting with, back to that meeting with Charlie, after that, the names of this list came together. Charlie stayed with us all the way, especially through that year. I could not have brought about what was brought about in 1 year without Charlie. There were two Charles, okay, Charlie. That was a Charlie and a Charles. When we had the district governor come in August after we were organized in June, Charlie already had us to have the 4 areas of service committees already together. The club service, the international service, the, you name it, okay? Help me. And they had already met and had a plan of work for the year. When the district governor came, Charlie had us drilled like, yes, sir. We stood up and each one brought to the governor a copy of our plan of work. After reading what the summary of it was, he gave me a copy. We selected the 4-way test as of the things we think, say, and do is the truth. Is a parent all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship, and will it be beneficial to all concerned? That became our project, to promote that. To promote it throughout the community as best we could. The town board of commissioners adopted it as the 4-way test community. We had billboards in town promoting the 4-way test. At the time, I was serving on the planning and zoning board for Wake County. I was sitting there one morning and we were chatting about different things, didn't know anybody was listening. And a few days later, an article came out in the Raleigh Times. At that time, there was an evening paper. It was the Raleigh Times. And so this subject came up. So we see these billboards down there in Fuquay, Charles, what's going on? And so we had discussion about it. And so the lady that wrote the article said, can you imagine applying that to a rezoning request? So, we won the first place throughout the district. And the district at the time ran from Graham to Manio, large district. At that time, it was 771, not 7710. We're way back, okay? So, we won the first place there. When we were forming, there were a few ground rules that we felt like we needed to adopt. One was, we didn't want to be going door to door, setting rooms. No criticism of the line, it worked for them. We didn't want to do that. We decided we'd rather ante up rather than knock on doors. So fundraising directive was, another one was, we didn't want to take away an evening from our family, especially the one that was going to be present. I had lost my wife 3 years earlier, and I found out I had been missing a lot, not being at home with my children, and I wasn't going to do it anymore. So, this club was the first club in the district that met for breakfast. In 1988, I think it was, we decided that at that time enough employment was in Fuquay. At that time, it was more than just the evening, whether we didn't want to make a commitment, but employment was outside. We would go away each day. We were not here at lunch. But things began to change. Employment pace built up in Fuquay, and there was more. And so therefore we felt like we could. And then the morning club starts, you have both. You have a choice.